Now I'm
All
getting
right.
same questions. So I'm playing the rest of
Yeah.
George.
Hey guys, we're going. Well, we're not live, but we're this is live recording with my friend Angel Miller and Chris James. Some of the individual I look up to from with Jesse Stanton, both of them from Sub Two community, and I believe their specialty is TC, transition coordinating. And if correct me if I'm wrong, Chris is the owner of the company, and he kind of is going to share his journey, where he's at, and how we as sub, whether we're in sub two or not, we can use their services in moving forward, and how they can help us avoid a lot of mistakes and obviously save a little bit of money during these transactions each day.
Yeah.
So with that said, I guess ladies first. Angel, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, sure. Um, well, I've been in real estate. Well, I've been in real estate a long time, honestly. I was a loan officer many years ago, um, and then that went bye bye. And I wanted to be an agent, so I went through real estate school, and then I was like, the market was turning at the time, and I was like, I'm going to segue, right? And so many years later, I decided to kind of dip into investing, see what that looked like. And I started originally out in what's Cody's group? Clever Investor.
Clever investor, yeah.
Clever Investor. That was the first opportunity I had to do some mentorship, and that was back in March of 2021. So I kind of played around with it a little bit. I had a W-2. I made six figures at the time. Wasn't that important, right? It was important. I was learning about it. And it was great and all that, but it wasn't really that important. My paycheck was still coming in every week, and it was a nice one. So it wasn't until June of 21, June of 21, I actually lost my job.
Wow.
And to go from six figures to zero.
Mm-hmm.
I had some in retirement and things like that, but it was definitely shook me up a little bit. So I got real serious about it, and took some of my retirement money, got into a better mentorship, and just started going at it. I did the whole thing, got the CRM, got the VAs, making thousands of calls a week. So I wholesaled for about a year, very comfortably. I actually made as much as I did for my W-2 the year before, the first year that I did it. But I hate it. I hate wholesaling. I do.
Oh, wow.
I hate cold calling.
Uh-huh.
When I'm having a conversation with a seller, great. It's very comfortable, and I can do that very naturally. But just dialing hundreds, people a day, and it gets really monotonous, and you burn out really quick. So, I just started to look at it, other areas within real estate where I had opportunity, and eventually, over time, I came across Chris and Jesse, and jumped into like one of the elephant challenges, the multifamily, I think it was,
Nice.
over a year ago, and then from there, I just kind of started to move into different things. And at one point, Chris had an opportunity open as a TC, and I interviewed, and he hired me, and here we are, right?
Yes.
There's a lot to know, a lot to learn as a TC. So, I just take it every day, and luckily, I'm a pretty quick learner. So, he could say better than me. Hopefully, I'm doing a great job.
Sweet. Okay. Well, I guess we can segue to Chris. Having a number one employee with Angel Miller, and thanks about yourself, Chris.
So and just in between everything else, I've been experimenting with Airbnb. I do have an Airbnb in Tampa, and I really love it. So that's an area that I'm definitely going to concentrate on moving forward. Chris and I, in the group, actually closed on a pad split, our first pad split today in Jacksonville.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with many more to come. They may not all be pad splits, but that's the goal in 2024 is to really ramp up buy and hold. So
there you go.
That's my course now.
Pad splits, Airbnbs, and TCing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Sweet.
Well, a little bit about me. I just got into real estate yesterday.
Oh,
No, mine is pretty interesting. More so, I come from a hospitality and restaurant industry, corporate setting. Been doing it for a long time, ever since 15 years old. I was like, first job actually was McDonald's,
wow.
as a crew member. You couldn't tell me nothing back then. But yeah, working at McDonald's, I just always wanted to own restaurants. That was literally, I went to school for it. I went to Alfred State for culinary arts. I also went to Le Cordon Bleu for hospitality restaurant management. And initially that was my passion. That was my dream. Still is a passion. However, the dream has shifted, right?
Right.
And more so, becoming going into the hospitality restaurant industry, becoming like a general manager for 7 years, and then promoted to a director of operations for 7 locations. It was a
Mhm.
different ball game, right? And that was at the time period where I thought I made it, but that wasn't the case. Because initially, as soon as I thought I made it, bam,
Yeah.
COVID-19 hit, right?
Wow.
At the time, this is all new to everyone in the world. This is something that no one has experienced ever before, right? So at that specific time, they closed down all our restaurants, and I get it. I couldn't get upset, but at the same time, what happens next? Um, During that transition, when restaurants closing down, sitting home, collecting unemployment, and even collecting the settlement statements, that not settlement statements, but
Like the
there you
like,
go.
Thanks.
yeah.
There you go. I couldn't think of it.
Stimulus,
There you go.
stimulus. Yeah.
A stimulus. I couldn't think. I'm still in the TC mindset right now.
Right.
But it got to a point where you either had two options, right? There's a lot of people out there. But I'm just going to throw it out there. 95% of people was not utilizing that money correctly or properly. They
True.
were spending on BS. And the fact of I actually utilized that money. Actually, when I was getting week after week and months and all that good stuff, I actually used some of that money to invest into real estate.
Sweet.
Now, initially, the first thing I invested in, not a lot of people know this, but I was becoming a real estate agent.
Nice.
I was becoming a real estate agent, and I got up to 81% of the course, and I realized um, I can make so much more as an investor.
Right.
Wow.
And a lot of people may think, "Oh, he just wasted his time, wasted his money," possibly. But I knew when I saw that advertisement of Kobe Sperber, something hit me, and
Mm.
that literally was my first mentorship. So I joined that mentorship specifically. Didn't really have any traction. And then I joined Alex Martinez and his twin brother Ryan Martinez,
Oh, yeah.
pro wholesaling. That was mainly on market deal, like doing deals, wholesaling, sending offers. Having amazing, they're amazing brothers. Just throwing that up, they're over in California. But from there, so those two mentorships didn't really pan out the way I was thinking. I was thinking to my head, maybe I got the shiny object. Maybe I don't know what to do, but what I know I needed to do is financially make something happen. So, and then that's when I went into the mentorship of Pace Morby. And then when I say things changed, it took me about 6 months to get my first deal.
Okay.
6 months. Now, granted, it happened from clever investors with that knowledge, that material, and that
Right.
all that stuff that happened. Just kind of utilize it. And my now thinking back, I was just dumb as hell, just watching videos. Like, oh, I should be doing it like this. Okay, wait, pause it right here. Then let me go try to do this, and then go back to it. It's like a lot of back and forth. It was more so the stage of analysis paralysis versus actually just doing it at that specific time. Where now I just go, just do it, just do it, just do it. But yeah, 6 months within, closed my first deal. $5,800, right? Great. But living in New York, that's not good.
Nah.
Right. And don't get me wrong, New York City is a different ball game versus I'm in Rochester, New York, a little bit different. But imagine doing a wholesale deal every 6 months. So $5,800 times two, you're about $13,000, right? A year. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good, right?
Nah.
Good at all.
Made more at
So
McDonald's,
right,
probably.
right.
Probably.
So within that five, technically I was supposed to receive $8,000, but a buyer actually negotiated me down at the specific time, and I didn't know. I was newer to the industry, so I didn't know. I thought what he stated was correct and valid, so I trusted him. Now that I know what I know now, I know he put one over me, and I get it. I'm not upset at it. I don't have regrets in life. I just take it, learn from it, and move on. Right?
Right.
Does he know that I know? He probably does, due to the fact that I mentioned it before on many of my podcasts is what that looks like. But he follows me, and he still wants to do business with me, which is fine, but it's not going to happen because he know what he did and what that looks like. But I don't mean to go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, join the mentorship and use basically that check specifically. They go into like Pace Morby and all that good stuff, and then I just wholesale for the first year and a half. And
Nice.
I'm not cocky, but I was good. I was good.
Nice, nice.
I was good. I was surrounding myself with the best individuals. We actually did. It was something along. I'm not for sure if you know who. You may or may not know who Marlon Johnson,
Yes.
Keston. It was Marlon Johnson, Keston, DJ King. Um, who else? Don Rich.
Don Rich, yes.
There was a bunch of us who, and I'm sorry, and Andreas. So Andreas Bastardo was over in Florida. So we
Okay.
literally started a book club, and every day, 5 a.m. we up 5 o'clock a.m. I started with that, doing a book club at literally and I never I'm not a morning person. I'm just throwing that out there. Like me, 5 o'clock. Yes, sure it's not 5 p.m. But nope, it was 5 a.m. And the alarm went off. We hold each other accountable. The first couple times they had to call me. It was like call back to back to back to back to back to back. And I respect that. I
Right.
respect that. And it was accountability, right? And that was kind
Right.
of my first like learning session or learning curve where accountability was really a serious thing in real estate. And it went from the 5 a.m. book club meetings, learning how to I think our first book was um a 13 year something. I forgot what it was, 13-year calendar or 13 years something. I can't remember exactly what it was. That's bad. I don't remember, right? But that was the first book.
Long
and and specifically from there it kind of transitioned to more so wholesaling, like understanding exactly what they value they had, understanding exactly what I could bring to the table. And we're on different markets. Why not kind of see what this wholesaling aspect looked like? And yeah, it's been about a year and a half wholesaling. Then I realized going into 2023, um, had the shiny object syndrome a little bit, just a little bit, just a smidget. 2023, I didn't want to do nothing but just buy properties. The wholesale thing was over. I didn't want to move forward with wholesale. Like, could I help somebody find a buyer? Absolutely. He found him, Chris James.
Right. Boom.
But it's just backed up that world of wholesaling. It's a grind, right? And it's
Right.
okay. People make a lot of money on that. I can go down the list. Josh Jukes, he's got an amazing wholesaling company. Mike Diaz, literally Matt Beard. They all do amazing things, wholesaling specifically, but sometimes it's not just for you.
Right.
And I know at that specific time, I 2022 going into 23, that's when I was at transitioning of wholesaling and actually building a TC company. And then that's where that kind of came up, because initially during that wholesaling aspect, I'm kind of TCing my own deals, kind of not, hey Chris, you need to be TCing, kind of pushed into that direction more. So like somebody's got to take care of it, so just do it yourself. And it kind of got to a point where I TC my own deal over in Texas, and that was a huge wake-up call because let me phrase this. As a buyer, I was buying the deal over in Texas, Abilene, Texas to be exact. I was actually buying that property with Jordan Austin, and he's over in Puerto Rico, one of Pace's great friends. He was a lender on that as well. We've become equity partners, and that specific transaction, especially that was a foreclosure one. I know we talked about foreclosure a little bit, but foreclosure and auctions, we closed on that transaction, right?
Okay.
3 weeks later, the seller gives me a call, say, "Hey, we have a check for a specific dollar amount." And in my head, like, that number rings a bell. Now, mind you, the seller wasn't supposed to receive anything.
Right.
So the check specific, the dollar amount was supposed to actually go to the actual the lender.
Wow.
For the arrears that was supposed to be caught up. So this specific attorney, you may or may not know him, but the specific attorney actually sent off a check to the wrong individual. So during that 3-week time frame, a lot could happen, right? Mind you, we got auctions coming up. We got foreclosure stages. We're at the last stage of foreclosure.
Wow.
To find out the house was bought from a third party. Oh, we like, oh, that's us. No, it's not us.
None.
It actually went to auction and someone bought it.
Wow.
And from that was a true wake up call. Like, no, I gotta TC my own stuff and understand exactly what happened, why this, that, and transparently, this still to this day, it was more so a blame game. We utilize the information that was given to us. But everyone knows, a true experienced individual know, when it comes to foreclosures and auctions, and you're going through a settlement statement, you never, that rule number one, you never send a check off. You always wire the funds to the actual lender that same day.
Right.
Because what if the auction's the following day?
True.
You're gonna send a check off. It's just a lot of different things that it was a true wake up call. But from there, that's when I realized the first initial name of the company was actually Elite Dynasty.
Oh,
And
nice.
then we revamped it a little bit to C3, like completely creative coordinators, and it had a ring to it. C3, completely creative coordinators, C3 for short, and it means the title is basically what we do. We do it all. We complete the package, or we do every aspect of it. There's not a lot of companies out there that will do that, and that's fine. That is fine. That's like going to a Dollar Tree versus a Dollar General. They got their own rules and regulations and policies that they have within their store internally. And I think what we have here for C3 is amazing. I really appreciate and value the team I have. And I kid you not, this is only the beginning. Our name will be out there more. And I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole as far as what it looks like in the future for C3, but I can tell you that this is only the beginning.
Sweet, man. Love it, Chris and Angel. I love hearing your stories. And as a newer sub 2 student, I was a bit stubborn, but like say being around people like yourself and understanding, like, oh man, everybody has their quote unquote horror story, but it's about learning through other people and being able to share those humilities because they actually make you stronger.
Absolutely.
And the accountability, I love it too. It's like, oh man, like dancing. It's like, man, I keep stepping on your shoe, Angel. If you're not telling me nothing, then it's like, man, but it's being able to be vulnerable enough and like saying, having those people call you, Chris, at 5 a.m. Hey, bro, where you at? Hey, bro, where you at? Because you actually see that they care. They're not just waking you up to read a book with you at the same time. It's holding yourself accountable and creating those good habits. And yeah, love it. And so, man, so once you got into TCing, Chris, you just said, this is my spot now. I want to move up to something big, or that's where you kind of had those future plans, maybe.
So when I officially wanted to build out a TC company, I really did it on the aspect of on a learning lesson. I failed at something, and I was going to fail for it and not let it happen again. So essentially, that was the main. That was going through my head at the specific time. Like literally, it's got to be, what can I do to actually get value? And I thought more so start a company, understand that you internally, like myself, is going to work on things to ensure that the people that do come on board or who want to grow with the company, they understand what not to do, the things to look out for, and how to really protect themselves. And that's why I'm very blessed to be around the right individuals, and not just that specifically, they're investors as well. And the people that come onto the team, I want them to do more than just TC. I want them to have 4 or 5, 6 different things going on. That's amazing. But part of being in real estate, a lot of people say, the glue, we're technically TCs, transaction coordinators, they're glued to the transaction. We know more than what an average buyer knows.
True.
And versus TC, when I was getting my real estate license, no idea what a TC was. Didn't know they existed. I thought it was just a title company. They're going to handle everything. They won't get nothing wrong. But hell, today, perfect example. Angel will have a closing today, and it's a subject to transaction, and the title company sent over cash. you gotta watch out for those things. And I'm glad more so Angel caught that, because whatever she said, she approved the transaction, they would have closed trying to bring maybe about a $200,000 to the table, where they're only supposed to probably bring like 20,000. That's a big difference,
right?
And little things like that, that's what TCs are for. We got to catch the little things. We have to understand what we're looking at and understand properly how to want to communicate what's in that specific document, right? And that's something that everyone internally we all work on it on a daily basis to ensure that on a hypothetical, if John Doe asks, hey Chris, what is the subject to transaction, I can articulate in a way that he thoroughly understands, right?
Right.
Versus if I don't articulate it in a way that they understand, they're not going to want to move forward with me. They don't trust me.
True.
So and then they still confused, and the more so a confused mind still says no, right? And a lot of people go to YouTube. A lot of people go to YouTube and expect,
Yeah.
damn, I got it, but actually get it out to the nitty gritty. They don't got it. They don't
No.
understand it. Pace says it best. YouTube is entertainment.
True.
It's literally entertainment, and he said, if you want to learn, join the community or work one of his sub 2 students.
Love it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, it's as far as like I said, and I think another part too, and I think Angel mentioned this about like knowing your role and kind of like being a master of it, and kind of being able to be in the element to where I believe that's where you have it, Chris, to where you're allowing people to not only grow, become better, to where no, I don't want you just doing this, I want you to do more. And
yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely don't want to stop no one's growth. 100%.
Right.
Definitely, because that's not good for any business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want nobody around me that don't want to grow. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's just the fact of yeah, 100%. Actually, what happened to me, like when I started building the C3 business, I had to focus on C3. So that was maybe an uncomfortable conversation I did have to have with Jesse at the time.
Right.
But he knew what the outcome would look like, and he supported it.
Right.
And now I'm at a point where specifically, I'm getting to a point where I'm almost able to balance both of them. But at the same time, at that specific time, I had to really have that uncomfortable conversation. Hey, I'm trying to build this out. This is what's happening. I'm going to have to focus. So you may have to pick up the slack from time to time. And he understood that. And you have to have those uncomfortable conversations. And he could have said no. Like, no, you need to be 100% committed. And I'm always 100% committed to any of my business.
Right.
However, I do have a user experience to uphold to my other business as well. To my other business partners. People think it's just a client and all that good stuff. No, I got user experience to my business partners as well.
True.
So yeah, that's how it kind of came about more so. I know I kind of drifted a little bit, but when it comes to transaction coordinating, it's a great, I love doing it. I really do. It comes second nature. I love learning new things. I love facing a lot of obstacles that Angel and I have been doing a lot of lately, especially with a lot of assets that's come across our plates from residential, commercial vehicles. And it's okay. Bring them on. We love those kind of deals.
Gotcha. Man, that's and I was gonna ask you, Chris, as far as what would you tell somebody, I guess, that like coming in, obviously there's a little bit of scarcity mindset because they're scared or they want to learn everything, like say, before actually taking that action. And when would you suggest somebody using a TC? Like, because I think I'm at 12 deals, mostly cash, and one recently was creative. And that's when I was kind of like either stubborn or like, no, I need to learn it a little bit by myself. But obviously, learning from those mistakes. When would you suggest somebody, like myself, to jump and say, I need a TC?
I would say it depends on you.
Okay.
The reason I say that, because initially, maybe you like paperwork, maybe you don't. But if you don't want to touch it, you should hire a TC on your first deal, whether it's cash or not.
Okay.
Perfect example, Jesse Stanton. Jesse have not touched us. As long as I know Jesse,
his life depended on
it. He literally have not touched a single document ever in our business.
Okay.
And when it does come over to him, he immediately forwards it. And that's okay. He doesn't want to learn it. He doesn't want to understand it. And that's fine. Everyone has a different lane, and he knows his. And I know when it comes to paperwork, I know when the paperwork documents come through, I know I got to take care of that. And I know what the expectation is. And versus if I let it marinate in an email that he forwarded over, then that kind of brings down the user experience. Like, okay, Chris, you know your role. What are you doing? And but no, to answer your question, I think you should have hired one on your your first deal,
right.
Whether it's cash or creative. Because at the end of the day, like, do you really have 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in a day just to draft up a document? Sometimes people don't. Sometimes people do. If you do, then something's wrong. We got to get more business.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true, Chris. Yes, man. So, Angel, it's been we've been working with Chris, and obviously, what did you are you is this more like learning as you go, or kind of learning as you grow, or going through each individual situation?
Yeah, I mean, definitely learning as I go. Um, some of the, just regular basic cash deals or standard creative deals, they've really become second nature pretty
Mhm.
quickly. Um, but we, like Chris said, we have a lot of unique things that come across our desk too.
Mhm.
And I actually did my first self perform a couple months ago. So that was interesting. And I have the opportunity to learn not just residential, but commercial. I'm actually doing a commercial now. So yeah, I mean, every day really I get to learn something. I don't know if they're Chris might. I don't know. He's kind of cocky, but
Right.
I don't know if there's a TC out there that can say they know everything. It's just
Right.
not possible. All two
Right.
deals are different, and um, they all have their little surprises. You know,
Right. Little
so
lean here,
yeah,
or
which
hidden
is great
charge.
because you really start to learn things. And like Chris said, I have buyers who have been doing this, much longer than I have,
Mhm.
and they're texting me all day long. What do you think about this? What about this? What do we need to do about this? Right? Because they just don't
Yep.
understand that part of it. So,
Gotcha.
um, you kind of quickly become that point of contact, that expert in their back pocket, right?
Mhm.
About things. So, and then if I don't know, then I go to
There you
Superman
go.
there, and yeah,
He
he
has that.
schools me, right?
He has that
So,
open door policy to where
yeah.
he's having that conversation.
So it's been great. It's been great. I love to learn. I'm going to be a lifetime learner. Um, and I have, other things that I work on too. So I still acquisition
Okay.
and do that. So um, yeah, I love it. I'm going to keep doing it. I keep learning every day. And I love our clients. I mean, I know Chris didn't mention it, but his business has grown exponentially, and it's all from word of mouth and
Right.
referrals. Other than the little Facebook posts that might go out,
Mm-hmm.
it's purely referrals. It's
Gotcha.
unbelievable, the amount of business that we get just on that. So that's a great,
Gotcha. Word of mouth, and you treating that initial customer, client, or potential business
yeah,
partner right, and they talk
yeah.
about you, and kind of, hey, come
That's
on.
really helped me as a new one because the ones that I had, started to come across my desk, thought a lot about the service that I was giving them. So they wanted me to continue to work their deals, and a lot of them are doing a lot of deals. So works out. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So I got a question for you though.
Oh. Yes, sir.
So out of your 12 deals you done, have you ever hired a TC or thought about doing a TC?
I thought about it, but my partner, he's also in sub two
Okay.
here in Houston, and he's a actual agent. So the caveat with him being an agent and being in a non-disclosure state, I have access to the MLS to where I'm pretty comfortable with the numbers. And so when I do have that mentality like Jesse and a pace, like, man, I don't want to do paperwork. I want to hand it off to somebody else, but I may be thinking that scarcity mindset where I may not have enough, or I don't know how to structure the deal to where learning that, okay, you can pay TC so much up front, but you structure the rest within the non-refundable EMD. So I guess those are learning lessons, or maybe me being also having a scarcity mindset, not only with money, but just actually reaching out to you guys on, just like I do on the chat. Hey, Angel, if I were to need your services, how does it work?
Yeah.
I don't have the full amount. How can we do this? And maybe that's what maybe that my default, Chris, if that answers your question. Maybe just scared, or learning just to fail forward and ask that stupid question, like they said back in school. There's no dumb question, you got to ask it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And more so are you going to move forward using the TC or is it still on the fence? What does that look like when you and your business partner?
I think when it like say if I don't have enough deals, I mean obviously the goal is to have enough deals to where, oh no, I can't handle this. but at least getting kind of like your feet wet to where, okay, I know of it, but I don't need to be an expert, or I don't have the time going back and forth between the seller. Because I heard great stories about TCs that sometimes they even make the deal sweeter because they're able to find certain things and actually negotiate certain things that you may not been aware of.
Mhm.
Mm,
And
mm,
so if and then on that, Chris, how do you, obviously you said difference between, because I do know many TC services within the sub two community,
mhm.
and obviously you said the Family Dollar and the Family Circle. Other than that, what how can you separate yourself from that, like, or how would somebody new like myself, or like, man, I want to do my next deal with a TC, who should I choose? I mean, obviously Angel's very beautiful and Chris is handsome. How do I
Yeah.
go? How do I go like picking, or is just trial by fire, or given?
Yeah, definitely a little bit trial by error, but at the same time, um, one thing we can guarantee is user experience.
Okay.
I, you know, I'm very confident in the team we have. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very confident. One thing that we do, we always ensure there's multiple TCs that's on our team, CC on the email to ensure that you're taken care of. On the hypothetical, if Angel is at a doctor's appointment and you ask a specific question via email, I'm able to jump in right then and there because there's another set versus there's a lot of people who work individually, and
Right.
that's fine. That's totally fine. However, we work as a unit.
Love it.
And you can't go too far doing it by yourself. And one thing I'm very proud of is that the fact of any one of us on the team could jump in at any time.
Love
And
it.
we're literally hitting all four sectors of the world because we got
Mhm.
people on the east, like literally the East Coast, we got the West Coast, we got everything from literally but Vegas, California, we have New York and good old Kentucky. Like we're all over the place.
Love it. Okay.
He always says it like I'm some kind of hillbilly or something.
Nah.
But no, yeah, we're here to always ensure the user experience. We always ensure that you're taken care of.
Mhm.
Sometimes we over communicate just to ensure that you understand thoroughly what the transaction you're getting yourself into. And two, um, we're not gonna just send over documents without actually saying what it is, right? That's like
Right.
me receiving something from the title company, hey, for it, and then call it a day. Now we're gonna articulate that, thoroughly understand. Hey, reach out if you have any questions or anything like that regarding the document itself.
I was
Okay.
just going to add to that
Yeah,
a
go
couple
ahead.
of things that you said, George. And one of them is, it's really kind of going back to getting a TC with your first deal. That's a great time to start building that relationship
True.
because your TCs generally are much more experienced than you are.
True.
We take our TC hat off. We're investors too. We've been through a lot of things, right?
Right.
So that's a great time for you. I mean, you think about what you pay for mentorships or to get in groups.
Yeah.
You can build. You've already got a lot of that with a TC.
Right.
They know this stuff inside and out.
Yep.
So even with your first deal, just starting that relationship with the PC, because like I said, I spend all day long answering texts for my clients now because they
Mhm.
just have little questions. Now, if they weren't my client, I'd probably, not answer them as quickly. I mean, let's
Right.
be
Right.
honest.
Right,
I'll get
right.
to what I get to you, right? Because I'm taking care of business. But they have that access to me, right?
Yep.
To ask those questions and get those answers on the spot because they're my client. So that's really important. And I think it is definitely a good reason for anyone to consider who's not using TCs now, or at least not, if you haven't done it with your first deal, to consider start building that relationship moving forward. Okay. Because they're going to be such a resource for you. I totally forgot what the second thing was I was going to say now. Sorry. It'll come back. It'll come back to me. Yeah.
But that makes sense. It was like, say it's just, if you the services are there, it's like Chris saying, trial by fire, and try not just like you're at the buffet, like I like my mama's mac and cheese, but I'll try this one. Let's just try it out. But obviously, having that teamwork, and I love what Chris said about unit being one unit. And it kind of, I don't want to go too much into the religious side, but being, the big man upstairs, and we're extensions of him, to where if I'm working with Chris or Angel or whoever on your staff, I should be getting the same quality of service from all ends. And
Absolutely.
I try to do the same thing with my little wholesale thing I'm doing here, to knowing I can't just throw a cold caller out in the fire with the list. Hey, call them people. No, it's being able to do the call calibrations, being able to be I guess maybe holding hands too much, but at the end of the day, it is your business and you're learning as you grow. But yeah, I will strongly consider, because I actually have 2 deals and they're cash deals. I will give them my partner and say, hey, I think this spread is well, or just having that conversation. How do the numbers work out? Because at the end of the day, money's just a product, tool to take it to the next level, and we can maximize that potential by adding, people within the cycle, I guess, if I'm wording it right.
No,
I
absolutely.
know what that second thing was, and I'm sorry. I remember now that kind of back to building that relationship. And I'm just going to use an example of one that I had. TCs do, everybody just thinks it's about the paperwork, but again, many of us are investors and we're experienced and we know how to talk to sellers, right? And I had one particular seller who was ready to just kill the deal. She didn't feel like explained really what a subject to transaction was. And she was over it. She was ready to just stop it. And I went in and I talked her through it, made her understand what was going on, understand her risks, all those things. And, ended up back on track and the deal closed. Right.
Nice.
But that client would have lost that deal.
If it was for you.
If I didn't go in and do that. Right.
Nice.
And that's one of many she caught.
Right.
That is one of many. I can definitely tell you that. You say thousands of thousands. You're talking about not just like 1,000, 2,000. You're talking about almost 70 grand.
Wow.
Minimum. So it's pretty.
That's too, Chris. Because I did run into and I think she was TCing at the time, Melissa Palmer, within the group, and she tells me a lot of times, hey George, as a TC, sometimes we save the deals or we even say just make it happen sometimes, and sometimes a lot of people abuse that to where, man, I might as well close my own deals because they end up closing the deal better than the original seller. I mean, not seller, but the wholesaler or the investor at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're worth every penny, George.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate your time, guys, and like I said, I look up to you guys, and I was telling a lot of people a couple months ago with Angel during the hot seat on one of Jesse's little Zoom interviews, and I was telling Miguel the hot seat to where you guys helped me look at things differently, and ever since then I was like, boom, it was deal after deal after deal to where okay, now I may need a TC, but
I'm magic, George.
Yes, it's not just a name, Angel.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad it was helpful for you.
It was.
That's what we're here for. Always be a resource.
But yeah, guys, I look forward to, like I said, I'm running by my partner and say, hey, let's try out C3.
All you gotta do is give us one shot. I promise you.
Right. The dream team. But cool, yeah. I guess if most people just like myself, they know you very well, so y'all are not hard to reach out to as far as TC services, and obviously being experienced investors as well. But yeah, guys, I appreciate your time, and hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll be posting this on my little old YouTube page because I was messing with Pace the other day. Say, when you gonna follow me, bro? He's like, you need to be more consistent. So like, oh man, now I get big timers like yourselves. So thank you again, guys, for your time, and I look forward to doing business with you here in the near future.
Thanks for having us, George.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
See ya.
See ya.